Hello everybody and welcome to In My Boat, episode number 70, on Monday the 15th of March 2010. In My Boat is filmed in front of a live studio audience. I'm not quite sure what the ducks are called, but they're definitely an audience and they're going to keep quacking all the way through, hopefully. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Why am I on a boat? Well, it's a little breakaway for us to just come on this boat, and I always do these recordings at the weekends, and it's a weekend and we're away, so yeah, that's why we're on a boat. So let's dive into the comments. Okay, so episode 70 though, pretty cool. If you hear any whirring in the background, that's Sarah just preparing the coffee for me, so I actually have a glamorous assistant today. So Terry said, absolutely wonderful blend. This is talking about the WBC blend, the UKBC blend of John Gordon's. Very mixed reviews on this one, and we'll get into that. So wonderful blend. Immediately recognised the Brazilian component, made in the Kona and then in the AeroPress. Fascinated by the bananas, so that's great. And Perky Peacock said, this has gone down an absolute storm in the shop with my coffee club members. Normally I tell people about the crazy roaster and his big peaches, but now I have steadily moved from talking about big beans a couple of weeks ago to possibly overexcited by big green bananas. Well done to John. Yeah, no, for sure. Gary said, was interested to hear about John was saying regards to the coffee scene in Australia. And it was, I mean, that kind of whole Antipodean input has been really amazing for the whole UK industry. Look forward to tasting the blend, and it pains me to say this, if an Aussie has anything to do with it, it's going to be good coffee. Yeah. Roland Glue said, great in my mug. The blend to me is exactly what a blend should be. It takes very distinctive component coffee, which I loved, and rounds it into a crowd pleaser while retaining its uniqueness. And you know what, Roland, I think you actually hit the nail on the head with this one, because that's what this coffee does so well. It takes what is a very big, bold flavour and just makes it into something that's far more acceptable, but still retains that interesting characteristic. So no, good stuff. Keith, feel I'm missing out on this one. I get the green banana hit, but it's just not that pleasant. It leaves a dry aftertaste and disappoints me. Do you know what? It's all about personal perception, personal taste, and this coffee was always going to split people. It's like a Monsoon Malabar. Monsoon Malabar's another one. It's massive for that. It's a Marmite coffee. You love it, you hate it, but you're forced to have an opinion, and that's what this blend is all about as well. So don't worry about that at all, Keith. You know that's fine. So then we've got Paul S. Great in my mug. Love the coffee. The espresso was sweet and sticky, and I agreed that I could taste molasses until I realised I'd never tried them, but imagine what it tastes like in espresso. As Perky P Turbo Latte was full of bananas, and I do think that this coffee really comes alive with milk. It's just one of those coffees that opens up. And then Gary Addin said, firstly, I apologise for getting John. Look, I fixed that for you and you've made me correct it. In the grinding I get Vegemite, warm malted rye toast, after the espresso oozed mull wine. Whatever it is, quirky but divine, and I think that is a very good way to end that one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to whap you on pause. I'm going to go and beat Mrs. Hasbeen until she makes my coffee quicker, and I'll be back in just a second. It's not the water. Now have some of this. Right, so I am back. I have trusty AeroPress. It travels everywhere with us. Been brewing for around about 2.5–3 minutes. So this is going to be a fairly intense brew. I would normally do it a little shorter, but there was a boat passing. So the coffee I'm going to talk about today is a little treat for the subscribers. It's a cup of excellence. It's a cup of excellence from Guatemala, and it's called San Julian. What do I know about this coffee? Hang on a sec. Nearly there, and I'm there. Right. Well, that's a full cup. So, can't remember where it came. I think it's fairly highly placed. I think it's about 8th or 9th or something like that. Have I got that on here? Let me have a quick look at my information. No, I don't have that on here. It's located in Palencia, which is around about 40 kilometres outside of Guatemala City. So very close to Guatemala City. Very small coffee farm. Produces around about 250 bags a year, which you know, is quite tiny. The owners are 4th generation, but they've built. Hang on a sec. Oh, okay. So they're 4th generation wet mill manufacturers. They actually come from Switzerland originally. Came across after the First World War, selling pulping equipment. But then they got into growing, and then, like everything else, I think it got under their skin. And very unique way that they market their coffee. 70% goes to a shop called Hogus Coffee, which is in Guatemala City. So drank internally, which for fine coffee it's quite unusual. 20% is sold as green to high-end local roasters in Guatemala as well, which again is very unusual. And just 10% exported to the USA. So it's the first time that this coffee's made its way to Europe, which I think is really quite funky and quite good. The family also run a coffee shop in the Congress building in Guatemala City. So you can spot a couple of congressmen lobbying whilst they drink coffee from the shop. So, let's see what else. Okay, yeah, let's dive into it. So, a bag there just to show off our new bags just once more. Right, so it's an AeroPress. It's quite malty, and what I mean by malty is it's got this really thick, it's almost like Horlicks malty, you know, that kind of really thick, sticky, very creamy, very clean. I mean, incredibly clean. And just on the back end, on the back kick, you get a little bit of a kind of spiciness, which is not your average spiciness. It's almost like a, oh God, it's like a cinnamon or maybe a ginger, something like that on the back end, which makes it, give it a lot more complexity. Will work very well as an espresso, will work very well as brewed, and will work exceedingly well as an AeroPress, considering we had no scales, that the water we've got isn't the greatest. It's kind of worked out really quite well, so very pleased with that one. It's one I'd like you to try. Come on in. So yeah, I'm going to offer you a voucher code. I'm going to pop that up below there, and that's going to give you should we say £1 off in the store, because it is an expensive coffee, but I'd really love you to give it a try. So it's going to give you £1 off, and it's quite unique. I don't actually think we've got any Guatemalans that are quite that sweet, and with that spiciness in there. Guatemalans tend to be kind of all about acidity and brightness, and you know, a little bit of thinness, but this has got a really big body to it that I'm sure you'll like, so I hope you'll try it. Thank you very much for joining us. Sorry for the rocking. I think that's Sarah and Shay inside rocking.
Sorry.
Sarah says sorry. But listen, until next time, life is too short for bad boating.